Okay, this is a quick video. Last night I was working till 4 and I was stuck at a point in a story where certain events and certain characters couldn't gel, and that kind of brought me to an point where I wanted to discuss what comes first, story events or story character. So how do you go about figuring out characters and events for the story? I believe generally we have an idea about who our main leads will be and how they'll act and behave. That's one of the whims of being an author, because we are fascinated by our main leads. And then we do have a general idea of what this story would be about. So, about the beginning and the end. Now, from here, how do we get into cracking the story events and the characters? The way I look at it, story events and story characters are the two banks of the river, and the stream that flows between them is the story. I feel theme is the spring from which the stream flows. So, if you look at it, the only way to proceed is to carry all three of them together. This is the Holy Trinity. You have the story events, you have the story characters, and then you have a theme. Every time you decide on an event in the story, you have to ask yourself if it is adhering to the message you want to convey. Every time you decide upon a character trait, you need to ask yourself if this person, this individual, is adhering to the theme, the message that the story needs to convey. In that context, we often start with listing out characters, giving them traits and all that. Personally, it didn't work for me. I felt after the first 3-4 characters, I kind of got repetitive or lost interest in coming up with new ideas. But what worked for me was deciding what the story needed. So the ideal approach, I feel, is take the first event. You already know the first event will somehow revolve around your main lead protagonist. And from there, use a chain reaction, cause and effect dominoes approach to be the second, and so on. Now, if that happens, whoever needs to be there in the story should be added. And whatever their personality and character needs to be, has to be the way the story requires. That way, I think the story events and story characters are meant to do only one thing: serve the central message. And that is the whole idea of writing a story, right? It's one single message that needs to be conveyed to the audience. Otherwise, what do these stories have? There's always going to be a friction in human relationship. There's always going to be some amount of love and romance. There's always going to be certain thrill, adventure. But all of these have been explored. What makes every story unique is the core theme. If that is taken care of, even if it's about a boy meeting a girl and falling in love, or a man avenging a person who killed the family, it's okay because the theme separates it from all the stories that have been told before. So the theme is the only connecting factor between story events and the story character, and the story events and characters must flow from it. I hope it makes sense to you, and it helps in some way. The idea is to share my experience and hope that you take something out of it. On that note, I would like to say that my whole career was courtesy internet. I didn't go to universities, and I didn't learn from experts in the field. I learned everything I learned from the internet. So StoryTattva is just my way of giving it back. That's about it. I mean, the idea here is just to share, because someone decided to do that and it helped my career. I was able to build a career out of it. So that was the point of StoryTattva. That is the point of StoryTattva. So if you all have any thoughts or any ideas that you would like to share or ask or discuss, think of me as the writer on the other end of the line, who's always willing to connect and discuss stories, because that's the only thing I can do. And on that note, thank you.